Good morning, and thank you for joining me. This morning, we're going to discuss a career that an individual obtaining a degree, a bachelor's degree in marriage and family studies, might desire to pursue. Now, this particular career is one that's very personal to me as I've benefited from the aid of an individual such as this. The position that I've found is actually with a company by the name of Children's Home Society. Now, Children's Home Society is a non-for-profit company. They are based in many states. This particular career happens to be based in Gainesville, Florida. I'll give you the current address is 711 Northwest 1st Street in Gainesville with a contact phone number of 866-427-5451. Web address, if you desire to go to this particular company, is www.chsfl.org/MIDFLORIDA. And you're wondering, okay, who is this company? They are Children's Home Society. Children's Home Society is a company that aids in the adoption of children. And with that, the position we're going to be discussing is the adoption specialist. An adoption specialist is an individual that aids families in finding children to adopt and to bring into their homes, as well as in the placement of children who may be in a home that's not conducive to their health and best interest. So the adoption specialist, the position, is one that will aid and benefit families a great deal. Real quickly, contact information for Children's Home Society if you desire to contact them. Jennifer Ankers is the executive director, with Aaron Rashevsky as a resource development specialist. Both of their contact information can be obtained off of that website or using that 866 number that we mentioned previously. Now, when you consider the working environment of an adoption specialist, at Children's Home Society, this is it's a typical job. You're Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Now, the caveat here is that you may find yourself on call at any given evening, weekends. It really is based on the needs of the children. So with Children's Home Society, you'll find that you could receive phone calls late in the evenings, early mornings, anytime on the weekends, as the need presents itself to aid in removing children from homes that there may be concerns there, as well as aiding in placement of the children. So with that, you consider the types of stress that an adoption specialist may encounter. You've got the day-to-day office stresses. You've got paperwork to file. You've got case studies or casework that you're going to be doing. You're filing a great deal of forms, paperwork through the judicial system. You're representing children and families within the judicial system, so you'll find yourself in court quite frequently. You will have the stress of having to remove children from their parents, from their biological parents, and in turn there could be some physical or emotional strains that these children have dealt with that it could be conveyed to you, and it could you could actually encounter this, and with that it is difficult at best to not absorb some of those emotions yourself. So you could potentially also encounter combative biological parents. And with that, you've got to understand that there is an emotional impact on you personally when you are removing a child from their parents, from their biological home. So there's definitely some stresses there that not necessarily based off of long work hours, although you could be on call, but more on the emotional aspect of removing a child from a home and also in placing a child for adoption. Benefits with Children's Home Society, this particular position didn't define what the work benefits would be as far as like health insurance and retirement accounts and things, but typically with positions like this, when they're based with nonprofits, there is flexibility, there is potential for health benefits, but also you are, as the employer, are responsible. Other adoption specialists that potentially could work for a state agency may actually have employee-based health care and retirement funds, but this particular one we didn't find where CHS had defined what their benefits would be. So it'd be something that you'd want to contact Jennifer and say, hey, what are we looking at? What can I anticipate as a benefit? Should I apply, and should I accept the position there? Typical tasks, we've talked about a little bit of that already with attending court hearings, creating case documents, both for the adoptive child as well as adoptive parents. You're visiting the children, you're visiting the homes, doing home studies, ensuring that where you do place the child is the best home for them, to ensure that their best interest is at hand as well. You're not just creating a family. You've got a great deal of paperwork in the case studies, but you're reviewing adoptive parents' information, doing background checks with them as well. Now, education, again, a bachelor's degree in marriage and family studies is the primary necessity here. Now, CHS does ask that you have 2 years of experience in social services, as well as some first aid and CPR training. So this may not be a particular position that one straight out of receiving their bachelor's degree would obtain, but certainly one that within a year or two of practicing and working in social services you could obtain. And with that, we want to look at the benefits as far as monetarily, what you could anticipate being paid for an adoption specialist. Now, generally, the starting salary range is about $26,000 annually, with an anticipated average of about $56,000 a year for the average adoption specialist. Some of your more experienced and tenured adoption specialists can make upwards of about $68,000. So you're not working in this field, you're not obtaining the position as an adoption specialist with the desire to become wealthy. It's not a monetarily rewarding, other than you do get paid. The reward comes in seeing the emotional benefits and the gains for the children as well as those adoptive parents. The position does have its challenges. There are benefits for anyone who desires to become an adoption specialist. Again, I look at my personal impact as both my children, we adopted them and had the opportunity to encounter an adoption specialist, and it was an amazing experience. This individual had a spirit about him that really benefited us. So the individual who desires to be an adoption specialist, anticipate that you will impact others' lives for the good. Again, thank you for joining me, and I hope that this has been informative.